So, a very good afternoon to the learners present here today and those who would be joining later. Today, we are meeting for the very last session of this entire course. The course is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. And as you are all aware, that it has been a 12-week incredible journey. And apart from the 12-week journey, we have had 12 problem solving sessions. And apart from those 12 problem solving sessions, including of that today, we also had extra sessions wherein, we had a list of questions which were other than the previously discussed. So in and all, we have got a huge amount of question bank with us, which is more than 180 questions almost. And in this 12-week journey, we discussed very nits and gritties about innovation, entrepreneurship, the experience of the startups and the people who have been a part of the different programs, their experiences, their moments of truth, along with various incubation facilities across India in various IITs, including IIT Bombay and IIT Hyderabad, what kind of offerings they have, what kind of startups they fund or they take care of or they incubate. So we have got all these different aspects which has been discussed by academicians, by professionals, by people who are heading these incubators and facilities. And these are from different ranges. These includes that from the biotech, that from the chip industry, including Center for CFH, which is Center for Healthcare Entrepreneurship. So likewise, you have got different kinds of incubators taking care and hand-holding different kind of startups. And I believe by going through all these content, you would be now quite clear into the aspect of, for example, you are trying to do something in the medical or the healthcare sector, what kind of incubation facilities you should try and opt for, right? So I think with that, what we can do is we can start our very last session of today, which is the week 12 session. And I'll share my screen and we'll begin the session. So I'll also try and join in this particular session because previously I've realized that there was some issue uh, with the login. Okay. Okay. So now I think my screen is visible, the content is there, and you will be able to see the presentation screen, correct? And let me quickly check the recording aspect if it is on. Yes, it is on. All right. So, like I said, I welcome you once again to the last session of this Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The course instructor is Professor Chakravarti, sir. And today we are meeting on the 11th of October for the third session. Yeah, interesting. So, I'll briefly explain about myself. My name is Abhishek Srivastav, and I'm a PMRFTA. PMRF stands for Prime Minister's Research Fellowship. And considering my education, I did my Bachelor's of Architecture, which is a 5-year course, followed by the Master's of Design, which is a 2-year course. And both of them I did at the SPA Delhi. And in terms of profession, I joined Infosys in Bangalore. And after that, I worked at Think Design, which is another design company, followed by my own company. That is where entrepreneurship came in for my respective journey. So that was the company name where I was the head. And slowly and eventually, I also started teaching. So I joined the Department of Industrial Design at SPH. And this was followed by the World University of Design in Sonipat, and later on to the UP Institute of Design in Noida. All right. And after that, I took a pause and I decided to start my doctoral journey, which is the PhD in the Department of Design. And this is at the IT Roorkee. Right. So this has been a brief profile of me. And during this PhD journey, I was shortlisted for the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship. And this schemes allows us to take added responsibility towards the society, wherein we have to teach uh, for 2 hours every week. And the NPTEL gives us this platform wherein we can utilize and do the teaching aspect. Okay. So the general agenda of these presentations are these are live sessions. They are there to help you in the current run of course. We discuss and solve week specific assignments. We have got a set of 10 questions, and today we also have an extra 10 questions. So in total, we have got 20 questions to discuss upon, which are different from the live assignments. Because the questions in the live assignments are there to assess you to evaluate your progress. However, the questions here, which we'll be discussing, will not be evaluated. It is mostly for your understanding to help you evaluate how much content you have absorbed, you have understood. All right. We'll also respond to the questions and queries if you have any, and we'll do the content recap of the ongoing week. So today we'll be doing the recap of the week 12. So during the live session, we expect certain ethics and rhythm to be followed. The primary reason being that these sessions are being recorded, and we want to avoid any unnecessary noise disturbances in our case, right? So if you're not speaking, we would request you to please keep yourself on mute. And but if you have any questions or you're responding to a question which has been asked, you can unmute and speak. And you can also post questions in the discussion forum segment. This is the ask a question functionality. And it is a very, very interesting feature because the moment you ask a question, all those who have joined this course, so enrolled learners, NPTEL team members, and me as a TA, we all get notified. And the moment there is an answer which is posted, again we all get notified. Okay, so I think it's a great functionality to be used if you have any doubt regarding the content. Okay. So all these sessions are being recorded and uploaded on YouTube. So this is the channel, this is the web address, and then all these presentations are also getting recorded and they are being uploaded on the Google Drive. You don't have to worry about this huge set of links. What you can do is you can directly go at the bottom of the left widget, wherein you have the week-wise content. And the moment you click problem solving sessions, you'll get again a text box like this. You click here, it will lead you to a spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet, you will have week-wise YouTube links along with one common drive folder, which is this one, in which you have got all the PDFs of the presentations, right? So you can refer it to when you are trying to prepare for your examination, because in that you'll be getting the PDF with the entire content recap, summary, set of additional questions, which are around 20 for the last 3-4 sessions. Right. Okay. So I think the course name would have been very clear to you. It is Understanding Incubation Entrepreneurship. The instructor is Professor Chakravarti, B.K. Chakravarti sir, who was from the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay. And then he joined, he was also taking care of the DIC, which is the Design Innovation Center. And currently he's trying to establish the School of Design at Mahindra University. So the course duration is 12 weeks, and today we are meeting for the 12th week content, and the deadline is 15th of October. So you've got a few days left, 4 days left around to submit the assignment. The final examination is on 26th, 15 days from now, and it will be done in the first half or the second half, depending upon the hall ticket. And now, hall ticket is something you'll receive probably 1 week prior to the examination, which means that just a week before you will receive it via email. You can take a print of it. Along with that, you can carry your government ID, that is the government identity card, which can include your Aadhaar, driving license, and things like that, along with the printout of the hall ticket. So that printout and that ID card you have to take. More instructions would be written along with your hall ticket. So keep a note of it. Just read it so that you don't face any further challenges when you reach the examination center. All right. So within the progress tab, you can see your progress. There is assessment scores and unit-wise progress. Grading and certification policy is basically a policy. We'll go through that in the presentation deck as well. So I'll not be discussing it right now. But assessment score is basically your internal scores, whatever you are submitting each week when there is deadline. So these will be accounted for when we will be giving you the certificate, right? And then you have the unit wise progress, which is the amount of content consumed. All right. So let's go further. So unit wise progress, you can see the content consumption. The blue part indicates what content you have already seen. The gray part indicates the content which is left. So for every week, you'll be able to see how much content you have gone through and how much content is left for you to have a look at it. Okay. Then you have assessment scores. So I believe for the assignments, I think till week 11, you will be able to view your scores. Right. Okay. So the course is free to learn from. If you're enthusiastic about the course, you are passionate about the course, then obviously there is no fee around. You can just learn the course, gain from the content. But if you need a certificate, then obviously that comes at a cost, which is rupees 1,000 for the exam. There was a last date to it. Then there was a further extension, and then the extension got ended at on August 22nd. So I believe if we are doing this particular course from the perspective of gaining a certificate, then I believe you would have already registered. Okay. Now comes the critical part. This slide is important, and in each of my session I give due emphasis on this particular slide and a slide on the underlying marking principle. Right. So just take a minute to read through it, and I'll let you know what this particular slide is trying to say. So let's try to interpret what is being said here. So I believe you would have understood that we have got two components critical to the marking, which is the internals and externals, which will give you the overall score. Okay. Now, internal markings are all the week-wise assignments. They have given a weightage of 25. This gets a weightage of 75 so that your overall score has a weightage of 100. All right. Now, in this case, there are 12 assignments, but we consider the best 8 out of 12 assignments. Right. Now, the criteria here is important because here your marks should be greater than 10, and here your marks should be greater than 30, so that your overall score is greater than 40. Which also means that you have to meet these criteria individually in order to gain the certificate. Okay. And let's see the scenarios in which you might not get a certificate, because that is also critical. Right. For example, you scored brilliantly here, you got 20 out of 25. However, you scored 25 out of 75. Your overall score is 45 out of 100. If you are meeting this score, you are meeting this score, but you are failing on this particular score, which means no certificate. All right. Let's take another scenario. Say, for example, you've got 5 out of 25, but here you scored great. You scored 60 out of 75. Your overall score is 65 out of 100. If you see, you've done a great job here and here, but you have failed on this particular clause, which means no certificate. Okay, so we are not trying to scare you, but just trying to help you understand the importance which is given to the internals and externals. You have to do both of them diligently and to the best of your knowledge. Okay, so this is how we have progressed from week one to week four. If you recall, we started with the very basics of what entrepreneurship is, what is evidence-based entrepreneurship, then GTC Center, why startups fail, the mistakes by startup, and the journey of Mr. Dinoj. Then we started understanding handholding of entrepreneurship by Mustafa, who's from the ID Batter, and then the panel discussion with three members, followed by the methodology and innovation and prefers Professor Chakravarti's seven concerns. This was followed by the Ideas program, what it is, and this is on a program at ID Bombay. And then Solar One case study by Mr. Avinash, who was from IDC Bombay, and the ID Hyderabad Students Projects. Week 5 was about the medtech success stories. So we have got Professor B. Ravi, who talked about this particular aspect, BT. Then we had Ms. Shelby and Mr. Dhayan, who talked about the human-centered innovation and creating experience design, followed by Professor Chakravarti, who talked about humanizing technology, and Professor Kaustubh, who talked about the business model canvas. Then we have got Sign Incubator, wherein Miss Paini Bhatt was there, and Miss Pratati was also there. We talked about the Sign Incubator, lead canvas, and then Mr. Manoj Bina talking about the atom bomb. All right. So if you see, there is huge depth of knowledge which has been delivered through this particular course. Week 9, we have got ITIC, the IT Hyderabad Centered Success Stories of CFHE, followed by corporate to entrepreneurship, building creative ideation, and building a POC from Professor Kumar Esan. And then we have got a startup project presentation. And the previous week, we have got a few sets of students presenting it. And the week 12, it is the remaining students will be presenting. All right, so we've got two typology of questions which are fast to you, and there are certain interplay between even these two formats, but more or less the answering mechanism remains these two, which is the radio button, single selection, one correct answer, and the other obviously is a square button, which is basically the multi-select, and you can select two, three, four, all of them, right? So that is there. All right. Now, this is another slide which I take a couple of minutes to discuss upon. You can take a couple of minutes, just try to read it, understand it, and then I'll help you, make clear of what they are trying to say through an example. All right. So what we are trying to understand is the marking of multiple choice questions. So I've just given you a very quick example. Uh, Obviously, this is not related to the content, but in order to understand, how the marking criteria is being mentioned. So, which among the below are in Delhi? These are certain monuments. The correct answer would be Qutub Minar, India Gate, and Lotus Temple. Now, let us try to understand what they are trying to say. So, scenario one is very, very clear. So, in this case, if you select A, B, and D and submit, you will get full marks. Okay. So, say for example, if it is a 1 mark question, you will get 1 marks. Take it. Let's take the scenario two. If at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks. Obviously, it's a multi-select question. All right. It's a multi-select question. So, what we mean here is that if you selected A, B, although they are correct, but you also selected C, or you selected B, C, and D, or A, C, and D, and submitted it. Now, since you have C option, which is an incorrect one, you'll get 0 marks. No marks here. All right. Let's take the final scenario, which is beneficial for the students. It says about proportionate marking, which means if I selected A and B and I submitted it, B and D, A and D, or individually A, B, or D. In these scenarios, I haven't selected C, which means that I am eligible for some kind of proportionate marking. So here in this case, I might get 0.66 out of 1 or 0.33 out of 1. Okay. So that is what the proportionate marking is about. It is the marking will be based on the proportion to the number of correct answers chosen are awarded. Okay. But please make sure that you do not select the incorrect option. Then only you will be allowed to get the proportionate mark. All right. So these were the top GMeet learners from our previous course. We had got Sanskar, Gautam, and Kaushal joining in the previous session. Thanks for being there. And I believe you could join today as well. So we have got a quick short video of the week 12 content. I played so that we get a hang of, what the content was about. Okay.
You know that myth of the aha moment? That sudden flash of genius that launches some amazing new business? We all love that story. But what does the real journey actually look like? Well, today we're going to deconstruct the messy, fascinating, and very real process of how an idea is truly built from absolutely nothing. So, where do these big, world-changing ideas even begin? I'll give you a hint. It's not some lone genius locked away in a lab. The truth is, they almost always start way closer to home, with a simple observation, or maybe a problem that just really, really bugs you. To really get to the heart of this, we decided to follow 5 different student teams as they tried to build a real business right from scratch. We're going to use their journey, all their successes, and all their stumbles, to map out the true anatomy of an idea. So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow 5 key steps. First, the spark of an idea. Then, listening to your customer. After that, we'll get into brainstorming. Then we'll get practical with creating the business blueprint. And finally, facing the reality check. Okay, first up, the spark. And here's the thing. Innovation almost never begins with some grand vision of changing the world. It usually starts with a personal, everyday problem that someone just gets fed up with and finally decides to solve. Just take a look at the problems that spark these businesses. See a pattern? They're not super complex technical challenges, are they? They're deeply personal frustrations. I mean, from stressful dinners with a toddler to kids' backpacks that just don't work, every single one of these ideas started with a problem a team member felt firsthand. But, having a personal frustration is a great start, but it's not enough, not even close. The next step is absolutely crucial. You have to get out of your own head. You have to move from what you assume the problem is to what your customers are actually going through. This is just a perfect example of assumption versus reality. The Swag Pack team thought, hey, kids want fun backpacks with cool designs. Makes sense, right? But when they actually talked to parents, the people with the credit cards, they heard a totally different story. The real concerns were super practical: size, weight, and get this, leaky lunchboxes. That one little insight changed their entire approach. And the most valuable insights often come from uncovering what we call latent needs. These are problems your customers have, but they can't even put them into words. Take this amazing example from Team Scoop. A mother casually mentioned her child couldn't eat on her own because she never had the right spoon. Now, the real problem wasn't the spoon, was it? It was this deeper, unstated need for tools that actually empower kids to be independent. That is the gold you're looking for. Because when you solve a problem someone didn't even know they had, you create a customer for life. All right, so you've gathered all those amazing customer insights. Now for the really fun part, brainstorming. And there is only one rule here. There are no bad ideas. Seriously. It's time to think completely without limits. Using this cool technique called a fantasy analogy, Team Scoop came up with, get this, a seesaw for mealtime. Now, is it practical? Of course not, but that's not the goal. The goal here is to completely shatter your old assumptions and reimagine the entire experience. It's not about preventing spills, it's about making mealtime fun and interactive. Team Tofa, on the other hand, took a different approach. They were blending tradition with modern needs. They started with this beautiful traditional wooden owl and just asked a simple question. What else could this be? And suddenly, boom, it wasn't just a toy anymore. It was a pen stand, a bangle holder, a piece of functional art. This is how you create something genuinely new. This single question from Team Scoop just perfectly captures the spirit of brainstorming. When you stop asking, how can we make a better fork? And you start asking, wait a minute, what is a fork even for? That's when you open the door to real innovation. You're moving from just improving the old to creating something brand new. Okay, so after all that creative, out-of-the-box exploration, it's time to bring things back down to earth. You have to take this exciting, wild vision and turn it into a blueprint for a real, sustainable business. And a great tool for this is the Lean Canvas. It's basically a one-page business plan that forces you to be crystal clear. Using SwagPack as an example here, you can see how it maps out everything, from the core problem and their solution to how they'll actually reach customers and, make money. It's their entire business roadmap, right there on a single page. And part of that blueprint, of course, is figuring out your revenue streams. The Lucid team, the ones creating that family communication app, they didn't just rely on one source of income. They planned for in-app purchases, expansion packs for different scenarios, subscriptions, even affiliate marketing. That kind of diversification makes a business model way more resilient. And now we've arrived at the final and, let's be honest, the most nerve-wracking stage of all, the reality check. This is that moment of truth, when you put your idea out there in front of experienced mentors and you get their completely unfiltered feedback. So, picture this. Team Scoop is up there, they're feeling confident, and they're pitching their grand vision for a whole line of products designed to help toddlers eat independently. And then, a mentor just cuts right to the heart of it with a single, sharp question. Why, after discovering all these different ways to make mealtime fun, were they limiting themselves to just making one type of product? Oof, that one question changed everything. And this is what the reality check is all about. The feedback was tough, for sure, but it was absolutely vital. The mentors challenged the teams on everything, from their core business idea and their cost assumptions, all the way to the user experience and that critical difference between the buyer, the parent, and the end user, the kid. And this really shows you that the reality check isn't a final exam you pass or fail. The goal was never to have a perfect idea right out of the gate. The real win is learning to listen, to iterate, and to adapt. That tough feedback, that is the prize. So there it is, the anatomy of an idea in 5 steps. Start with a personal frustration, something you really care about. Then go talk to real customers and challenge your own assumptions. Brainstorm without any limits. Build a simple, clear business plan. And maybe most importantly, seek out tough feedback and be ready to change everything. This entire journey just shows that our biggest breakthroughs often come right after we prove our first, most cherished assumptions wrong. So the final question I have is for you. What wrong assumption is holding back your best idea?
So that was a very short video which basically mentioned about the entire course. And
You
now
know
what
that
we'll do is we'll just quickly have a quick recap of the various teams and their presentations. We begin with Team 6, which is the Scoop. We'll not be discussing it in detail, but just to give you a very, very brief preview. So it was Team Scoop, which was for the caregivers and parents who want to make feeding experience of the child more playful and interactive to improve toddlers' eating experience and reduce their meal times. Stressful meal, unlike the session with usual monomodes. So that was the need they identified, and they did their basic research, study their business model canvas, and then this comes the ideation part, wherein they started ideating, sketching, what could be done, how they can make the cutlery more interesting, more catchy. And what you see here is basically the ideation part, the concepts, the initial sketches, and then it got refined into a much more visually appealing model, which is the final model. And you can see the visualization of the child there who is, you know, happy with that device, right? So that is how you visualize, right? Okay. Then there were lots of feedback, and then there is another team which is called the SWAC Pack, and these are the team members, the three of them. And what is it that they have come up was basically the backpack for students. There were different challenges around it, and they did the customization. This is the final sketches, and then the visualization, 3D final prototype. What kind of customizations it may allow, all that is visible to you, and then the different features at the different price range. It is also available here. All right, and then there was feedback session, give and take, and then they provided. Then comes another team, which is the team VR content, right? Which is about utilizing the virtual reality for students from 5 to 10 class to experience and offer alternative learning environment to increase their cognitive skills, unlike the traditional classroom learning, which promotes one size fits for all. Right. So this is what they had created to enhance learning through the virtual reality content. And these were the problems they had identified. Their competitive study, which is the photon VR, and then the few feedbacks. And then comes finally the team nine, which is the TOFA team. These were the team members of that particular team. And they had this problem statement. They were trying to target students and the kids, basically in the age of 3 to 5 years, by incorporating the traditional craft industry and how these are the different ideations they had come up with. And with each market study which they had conducted, then the rounds of feedback, and then finally the team lucid, which we are presently seeing here to encourage and facilitate fertilize interaction between individuals from all walks of life. So there's a generational gap between a parent and a young adult, and they were trying to meet that with their app. Okay, so this is their business model canvas, questions, the feedbacks, and okay, so we have covered the content recap, and now we are here at the question number one, which is for the project scope, Professor Anuradha Narasimha highlighted which two problems that the team were trying to solve. So you have to tell the two problems which the team were trying to solve as per Mr. Miss Professor Anurag. All right. The options are making meal times more fun, making automatic baby food, making toddlers more independent, and making toddlers dependent. We've got four options. So take some time, think about it. And usually, what we do is for every question, we give a few minutes for you guys to think. Let me know the correct answer, and then eventually I share the correct answer along with the validation scheme. So that is how we proceed. So you've got a few minutes, think about it, and let me know the correct answer. So you've got a couple of minutes there to work around it. You're talking about the team scoop, and which was about mealtime experience of eating. That is what they were trying to solve. discussing the team scope, the project scope, and trying to understand the two problems that the team were trying to solve. Was it about meal times becoming more fun, or automatic baby food, or toddlers more independent, or making toddlers more independent? All right, let's see the content. The correct answer. So it says definitely a large problem. In that, you're trying to solve two of them. The first one says making meal time more fun, and the second one is making toddlers more independent. Correct. So the two correct answers are A, which is making meal times more fun, and C, which is making toddlers more independent. Okay, we are trying to make them more independent. Question two, referring to the project school, it is advisable by Professor A. Narasimha. Think about which factor, if you want to sell more and make more money, is the largest value proposition, company investment, larger market exposure, or larger business opportunity. Okay, which factor you want to think if you want to sell more and make more money? Which are the factors you have to figure it out? Again, let's take a few minutes, think about it, and let me. Let's see if anybody has responded to this. The question was very clear and self-explanatory about what factors you have to think about if you want to sell more and make more money. तो यानी कि आपकी सेल्स भी ज्यादा होनी चाहिए और पैसा भी ज्यादा होना चाहिए. More sales and more money. Okay, options were given to you is large value proposition, large company investment, large market exposure, and larger business opportunity. So let's see the correct answer. It is, I would seriously recommend think harder about what is the larger business opportunity. Do I want to sell one scoop to 100 people, or is there a larger business opportunity selling five different ways to a smaller user segment? Okay, so the correct answer is larger business opportunity. Well done. Okay, let's come to the question number three, which is as discussed in the project Swag Pack. Okay, Professor Ashok Palwalkar, Professor Ashok. Okay, if you remember, he was from the Philips. Choose one feature which would highlight the backpack to parents apart from being customizable canvas. So the question says that okay, this feature of customizable canvas, it is already there. We understand it, we acknowledge it, but what is that one feature that will excite the parents, that will connect with the parents? Which feature is that? Okay, is that it is washable, or is it reusable, it is sustainable, and it is functional? Okay, so you've got a few minutes, read about it, and let me know, think about it, try to reflect upon what was told, and it would be quite clear. Question is clear. It is about swag bag, and Professor Ashok suggested the team that apart from being a customizable canvas, what is it that he would highlight for the parents? What feature it is? It is the washable feature, reusable, sustainable, or the functional. You've got one more minute, and we'll discuss the correct answer then. All right, let's see the correct answer. So during the customer insights, it was found that the size of the bag is bigger than the size of the kid. Weight become quickly food and oil often spills from the lunchbox and spoiling both books and bags. That is where our answer lies, which means that the bag was washable. Okay, sorry. Just right. Okay, the correct answer, if I may say, it is the shoes. So it was Professor Ashok who suggested that you can include this feature that can actually be a guiding factor for parents because they are the ones who are cleaning the bag, washing the bag, especially the mother. And that's where if we suggest and portray that the bag is washable, it will connect more with the parents in this particular case, right? Let's see the question number fourth. It says the team swag back ensured which of the following features in their low cost offerings. Okay. So if you remember, they had got three offerings. Three offerings of backpack with different features. You have to suggest the low cost offering there. What are the features? Secret pocket, replaceable front panel, GPS tracker, and rain cover. Which among the following? Remember, it's a multi-select question. Okay. So you have to tell which of the following features was there in the low cost offering as informed by the team swag pack. Just a quick check with the recording that is going on. It is fine. Or quite a few learners. That is good. Okay. So reflect upon the content which you had gone through. It's not a very critical question. Just try and think about it. You'll be able to recall the correct answer to this question. Remember, there were three offerings given: low cost, the medium, and then the premium feature list. So you have to tell the offerings that were available in the low cost segment. Take a couple of minutes and let me know the correct answer. It is regarding the team swag pack and the feature of their low cost offering is being expected. minute and we'll see the correct answer. All right, I think we have taken enough time. So let's have a look at the question and what would be the correct answer, right? Okay. So if you see the inverted pyramid and you see the three offerings, the premium version, which is around 2900 to 3500, then comes the expensive offering, and then at the bottom, what you see the low cost offering. Now, the low cost offering, you get to see the replaceable front panel, the modular backpack, and the secret bucket. As you go to the expensive version, you start getting the GPS tracker and rain cover. Right? And then as you move further, you've got some kind of AI assistant, visual assistant, right? So that is how it is progressing with the higher price of the bag. So at the very basic version, you've got replaceable front panel, the modular backpack, and the secret cockpit. Okay. So this is the front panel, secret pocket. One more thing, which was the modular backpack. So since it is not there, so obviously there is no choice which can be given to you. All right. Let's go to question number 5. One of the important insight given by Professor Tulkayas while discussing the project, we are content. There was about the zone fatigue. Okay, coming in. What is this zone fatigue? So basically, Dr. Tulkayas talked about a term called zone fatigue, and you have to tell me what that term is about. Okay. The options are tiredness or burnout due to the overuse of online platforms of communication, tiredness due to zooming in and out of the digital stream, tiredness while riding a Zoom car, and none of the above. Once again, we have got four options. It's very direct, very clear. It was a term which was introduced during the COVID pandemic, Zoom fatigue, and that is the hint which can be given to you for this particular question. So, again, once again, think about it, reflect upon it. Let me know the correct answer. We are talking about what Professor Purkayast had given as an insight to the team of VR content when he talked about the Zoom fatigue. Okay, so let's see the correct answer of this question. We are referring to the VR content team, and Professor Purkai has mentioned about a term called Zoom fatigue. The question was what Zoom fatigue is, and see, it clearly says the Zoom fatigue coming in, and Zoom fatigue is basically the tiredness, worry, and burnout associated with the overuse of the online platforms, communication, particularly video, telephony. The name derives from the cloud-based video conferencing online chat software Zoom. For the term can be used to refer to the fatigue from other video conferencing platforms too. Right. So it basically is about the burnout, which is for the overuse of the online platforms of communication. So whether it is Gmail, Zoom, Skype, right? Since Cisco has WebEx, so it is a part of that only. All can be considered the Zoom fatigue because of the tiredness and the overuse of these platforms. All right. Let's go to our sixth question. As discussed by Dr. Professor Pugayest in the project Alpha, he mentioned on focusing on the process because if you follow the process, chances are that I hit what? Okay. Options are failure, dead end, success, and none of you know. So he's saying that if we follow the process, there are chances that we may hit failure, dead end, success, or none of them. So once again, you have got a couple of minutes to reflect upon the question, think about it, let me know the correct answer. That is a good enough time to think about it, and you've not received any of the further responses. So let's see the correct answer. I think it's a brilliant idea. It can actually I may think it's a stupid idea and someone can make a unicorn out of it. So I focus on the process because if you follow the process, chances are that you may hit the success. All right. So the correct answer is success, and it is being said by Professor Gurgeist. Coming on to question number 7, as discussed by Team Toffa, their vision is to uplift Indian traditional dash market. So, which market are they trying to uplift? The options are the toy market, the online gaming market, messaging market, or the educational. If you see here, I think the answer is very, very clear. You have even read the or seen the content recap. We are trying to uplift the traditional Indian dash market. What type of market we are trying to uplift, that is what you have to then. Sometime let me know the correct answer. So once again, Team Tofa, what are they trying to uplift in the traditional Indian sector market segment? That you have to tell us. Last few seconds, if anybody wants to answer the question. All right, let's see the correct answer. So the vision is to uplift the traditional Indian toy market. And if you see all these examples, this was the original toy and then how it was improvised in terms of design intervention to make it a bang holder or the pens there, right? So the main essence is to uplift the toy market. Correct answer is A. Okay. Let's proceed further. The thing you said is aiming in bridging the generational gap between first and second using gamification. Okay. Now you've got four options, and first and second are mentioned in one of these four options. Your options are parents, grandparents, young adults, and none of the above. And you have to tell the generational gap between which two segment is being bridged by the app, which is the team music. Okay. Generational gap between parents and grandparents, parents are young adults, or young adults and parents. That you goodness. Or young parents and the grandparents, young adults and grandparents. Right? Team Lucid, their offering, it helped in bridging the gap between the two age groups. Was it the parents and grandparents, parents and young adults, or grandparents and young adults? Or there is one of the options as none of the above. Once again, take a minute, let me know. You have to reflect upon the content of the week 12 to comprehend the correct answer. Talking about the racial gap and how the team USAID is trying to bridge the two by connecting the two different user groups. Those user groups we have to tell. As I mentioned, you can utilize the GeoIT in cause the options to write the correct answer, and then we can take it from there. Right? All right, so let's see the correct answer. Says the team Lucid. The problem statement was how might we bridge the generational gap between the parents and the young adults using gamification. All right. So these are the two user groups which we are trying to they are trying to club and bring in. So the correct answers are option A, which is the parents, and option C, which is the young adults. Right. Let's proceed to our ninth question. As mentioned by Professor SK in project you said, in what ways can you articulate your elevator pitch? The options are the concept should talk about what the idea is, concept should talk about the top three problems, and should talk about the present market competition and how will it make money. Okay. So again, it's a multi-select question, which means there could be multiple correct answers, right? So, which among the four options we have would be the correct answer as per the project team Lucid was trying to do in terms of bridging the generational gap between the parents and young adults. But then there was an insight given about how do you articulate your elevator pitch. You've got four options and you have to tell us which among these are the correct ones. What a minute, think about it and let me know. Try to reflect upon and how you can respond is through the in-call messages. In Gmeet, you've got the chat option. Got few seconds left for this particular question. A few seconds. Right. All right. Okay, let's see the correct answer for this question. So these were the conversations. What would you really help is articulate a concept which talks about what the idea is, why should I care, and how will it make money? Right? And then you can see the other conversations as well. So the correct answer is option A and D, which says the concept should talk about what the idea is and how will it make money. So why should I care is not here. So obviously that is not the option. So you select A and D, which is what the idea is and how will it make money. And why should I care was the third aspect of it. All right. Let's take the 10th question. The team VR content in the competitor study mentioned about Photon VR. Okay. So that is the competitor, which is about what? Is it about a photo clicking app, a virtual reality game, or a virtual reality in education, or augmented reality in higher education? So you've got four options, and we're talking about Photon VR, which was a part of the competitor study of the team VR content. Okay. So once again, take a minute. Think about it. Let me know through the call message what could be the correct answers. Photon VR was referred by the team as a part of their competitor study. You have to tell what type of app or offering the Photon VR has. The options are photo clicking app, virtual reality in gaming, virtual reality in school education, and the last option says augmented reality in higher education. So once again, take a couple of minutes, think about it, try to reflect upon the content which has been discussed, presented in the week 12 session, and let me know the correct answer of this question. About the topic, reflect upon what we have gone through the content, and I believe things will be much more clear. All right, so let's see the correct answer. So the Photon VR is about virtual reality in education, and the competitor study mentioned about Photon VR. which is basically a virtual reality augmented headset, are designed for students from grade 5th to grade 10th. Mission is to make education interesting, exciting, and joyful with an immersive experience. We are giving the platform to explore your child world. Be physically impossible to travel through the virtual reality headsets, right? So it is about virtual reality in the school education. All right. Correct answer is option C. All right. Let's proceed further to the 11th question. What was the primary vision of school startup team for their product? Was it to develop a mobile app for tracking toddlers' nutrition, to make feeding experience for toddlers fun and interactive, to design high chairs with enhanced safety measures, features, and to create organic baby food? Very direct question. The vision for the school startup, what is it that they were offering? Mobile app, feeding experience, high chairs, and organic baby food. All right. So let's see the correct answer. It is to make the feeding experience for toddlers fun and interactive. So I think if you're able to recall about it, it was clearly mentioned. If you recall, they had concepts around spoons, different concepts around spoons, and how we can make it more fun, more interactive. So the correct answer is option B. All right. Well done. Let's proceed to the next question. According to a mentor's feedback, which business opportunity for Scoop was considered larger and creatively fulfilling? Developing a subscription box of for different types of toddler spoons, partnering with a daycare center to sell products in bulk, creating a series of mealtime accessories and toys that make feeding less stressful, and focusing solely on the toddlers more independent on making toddlers more independent. So now what you have to do is, considering it was Professor Anuradha who gave feedback to the team Scoop, and you have to tell what was the feedback that was given. Anybody has suggested any of the options? Not yet. Okay. So the correct answer is creating a series of mealtime. So this word is important. Okay, series of mealtime accessories of toys that make the feeding less stressful. So that is the correct answer. All right, option C. Next question is around the team Swag Pack. What was the key insight the Swag Pack team discovered about parents purchasing habits for children's backpacks? Parents are mostly unaware of the correct size and functional needs. Most requested feature from the parent was built in lunchbox. Parents primarily chose backpacks based on the lowest price. Parents prefer to buy backpacks online for convenience, and they are mostly unaware of the correct size and the functional needs of the child's backpack. Okay. Again, this is Team Swag Pack, and it was Professor Ashok Panwalkar who was guiding the team, was the team mentor. And one of the options are correct. These are all radio button questions. Okay. So you have to tell which of them is the correct answer. Okay. Take a couple of minutes. Let me know the correct answer. And eventually, I'll tell you what the correct answer is. Just 1 minute. Let's see the correct answer. It is about parents that who are mostly unaware of the correct size of the bag and its functional needs for their child's backpack. Right? It's very hard for them to identify which one is the correct size. Customer discovery revealed that despite looking at the size, parents often bought ill-fitting backpacks and weren't aware of ergonomic parameters. All right. Let's move on to the 14th question. Which of these features was offered in the premium range of Swagpack backpack, but not in the mid or low range cost? Remember, we had a question which talked about the inverted pyramid. There were three offerings: the premium, then the expensive, and then the low cost. So now the question here is for the premium offering. All right. So question can come for any of these. So you have to be prepared for all these things. All right. So the options are a modular design, a GPS tracker, a replaceable front panel, and a secret pocket. Again, it's a direct question. If you see the and compare the options which is already present here, you will be able to make a better decision around it. So let's see the correct answer. I think we have taken enough time for this question. The correct answer is yes, it is GPS tracker. Obviously, the more tech you bring into the offerings, it will become much more expensive, much more costly, and that's where the GPS tracker is the correct answer. This advanced safety feature was reserved for the highest price and premium offering to appeal to the safety conscious parents. So, if they want to and wish to track where their child is, because usually, I mean, the child goes to the school or comes back through school bus or tempos or auto rickshaws, and in a way, it will be helpful for the parents to keep an eye on their child. Question number 15. What was the primary target for the educational content being developed by the VR content? Okay. So the correct team name is VR content. Okay. Corporate employees requiring technical training, university students in science and engineering fields, school students in grades 5 to 10th, and pre-primary children learning basic shapes and colors. Okay. So we want to understand the primary target audience, right? The educational content, team VR content. You've got four options: corporate employees requiring technical. So the options are corporate employees, university students, you've got school students, and you've got pre-primary students or children. Okay. Primary target audience for the educational content being developed by the VR content team. You've got four options, and you have to tell when it's correct. Let's take a minute or so, and then I'll let you know the correct answers. Right, let's see the correct answer. It is the school students in the grades 5 to 10. Okay. The team identified this age range as a critical period where child students shift from basic learning to the higher order learning. The 16th question, a mentor raised a significant user experience challenge for the VR content team. Again, it is VR content. Drawing parallel to the Zoom fatigue, what was this challenge? We already had a question around it, so I think responding to this question will be much, much more easier. The high financial cost of VR headsets, the potential for physical strain and discomfort from wearing the VR goggles, the lack of teacher training for using VR technology, and the difficulty of creating interactive and engaging content. Remember, this we have already discussed in our first set of 10 questions. So, responding to this question must be easier if you are there. And let's see. So, we'll take one more minute for this question. All right, let's see the correct answer. It is option number B, which is the potential for physical strain and discomfort from wearing the VR goggles. The mentor questioned what the experience would be like for students to wear this device for hours, similar to the strain of looking at the screen all day during the COVID pandemic when everybody was attending Zoom meetings, Skype, Cisco, things like that. Okay. 17th question. What is the core problem statement that TOFA project aims to address? Is it about mass produced low cost plastic toys or to promote Indian handcrafted toys among the new age parents? To document the history of Indian traditional toys for the museum archives or to create a global toy brand that manufactures licensed superhero figures? Again, take a minute and let me know the correct answer. We have got 20 questions in and all, and we are here at the 17th question. The core problem that the TOFA project aims to address. Okay, let's see the correct answer. It is to promote Indian handcrafted toys among new age parents. The team goals to uplift the traditional artisans by making their products more relevant, appealing to the modern market, thereby building a market for the Indian toys. Coming on to the 18th question, the TOFA team's design interventions aim a key element that the modern parents desire in toys. What is that element? Ability to connect to a smartphone using recycled materials, electronic sounds and lights, functionality, and utility beyond being just a plaything. Okay, so let's see the correct answer for this question. It is option D, which is functionality and utility beyond being a plaything. The parents suggested that a toy should also have a purpose, like being a container or a stand, so it does not just lie in a corner. So adding more functions to it was something the parents were looking for. Okay. Moving on to the 19th question. What is the primary function of Lucid app proposed by the student team? To teach parents how to use modern technology and social media, to provide a secure family messaging platform with end-to-end encryption, to act as a shared family calendar and event organizer, and to help parents and young adults bridge communication gaps through the gamification. Again, it's a question which is very, very direct, and we just had a question similar to this. I believe you'd be able to easily understand the answer of this question. The function of the Team Lucid app proposed by the student team. Let's take a minute to understand this and I'll let you know the correct answer. Primary function of the Lucid app. Okay, let's see the correct answer. Yes, it is option D, which is to help parents and young adults bridge the communication gap. The app uses game mechanics, prompts, and rewards to make interactions easier, more fun, and addressing the quality of conversation. Right? So, which leads us to the last question, question number 20. What critical feedback did a mentor acting as an investor give the Lucid team about their pitch? The options are the presentation was too short and lacked detail, and the focus should be on the physical board game instead of an app. The team Lucid was not catchy enough for the market, and they need to be more specific about how the game works and makes money. The last question you've got to let us know the correct answer of this question. The feedback given by the mentor for the team Lucid who were trying to bridge the communication gaps. Okay, let's see the correct answer. It is option number D, which is they needed to be more specific about how the game works and makes money. The mentor advised against the generic value proposition and urged them to crystallize why our game is the answer and presents a concrete business model. So, with that, we conclude our presentation set. As you can see, the questions are being responded by the team members. All these questions are being addressed by the relevant team members. So, with that, we conclude our session for today. Let me just get back here. So once again, thank you so much for being there. Today was the last session, and I believe it made sense to you. You were able to understand, learn a little more about the question set, how they can be framed, how they can be addressed, how to make out the correct answer. So with that, let us conclude our session and our 12-week journey. Thank you so much, and I wish that you perform great in your final examination. And do let me know how was your paper. Okay, so thank you once again. Namaskar. Just say copy as a PDF. Stop the recording as well.